All right, today we're going to venture into a corner of the internet that has this huge, mysterious reputation. You've definitely heard about it, probably in hushed tones. We're talking about the dark web.
But what's the real story? Beyond all the movies and the scary headlines. Is it just a digital back alley, or is there something more going on? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
Now, I know when most people hear dark web, their minds jump straight to illegal stuff. And look, that side of it definitely exists, no doubt. But that is far, far from the whole picture. The reality is actually way more interesting and nuanced. So let's dive in. To really get a handle on the dark web, we first need to kind of map out the territory, see where it fits in the grand scheme of the internet.
The best way to think about it is like a giant iceberg. The little tip that you see sticking out of the water, that's the surface web. It's everything you find using Google, social media, news sites, all the usual stuff. Now, underneath the surface is the deep web, and this is actually the biggest part of the internet. It's not scary, it's just stuff that isn't publicly listed, like your online banking portal or your work's internal network. And then way down at the very bottom is the dark web. It's a small slice of the internet that is hidden on purpose.
And here's the most important thing to get. The dark web was built for a reason. It's what's known as an overlay network. Basically, it's a layer built right on top of the regular internet, and it was specifically designed to make communication private and anonymous. You don't just stumble onto it. You need special tools just to open the door. And speaking of special tools, that brings us right to our Safe Explorers Toolkit. Let's think of this part as packing for our expedition, because if you're going to explore this place, you have got to do it safely. And I really can't stress this enough. There are absolutely risks involved, and being prepared is not optional. Your security has to be the number one thing you think about before you even consider going there. So, what does being prepared actually look like? Well, here are the absolute essentials. First, you need a specialized browser like Tor. It's what protects your identity by bouncing your internet traffic through a bunch of different servers. Second, for another layer of security, a good reputable VPN is a must. And third, and this is the biggest rule, just be smart. Don't go downloading suspicious files, and it goes without saying, stay far away from any illegal activity.
Okay, with our safety kit packed and ready to go, it's time to actually start our little exploration. Let's see what we can find when we look past the myths.
You might think our first stop would be some shadowy marketplace, but it's actually something more like a hidden library. The dark web is an incredible resource for researchers, activists, and journalists. It's home to secure platforms for whistleblowers, and it's used to preserve historical documents that might be banned on the regular web. It's a pretty vital tool for free access to information. And it's not just about finding information. It's also a hub for some pretty cutting-edge privacy tools. For anybody who's really concerned about being tracked online, you can find things like super encrypted email services or platforms for sharing files anonymously. These are tools for anyone who wants to take back a little bit of their digital privacy. Another side of the dark web you might not expect? Community. Seriously. It has forums dedicated to a huge range of topics, everything from coding to activism to deep philosophical debates, all happening in a space that's free from the usual censorship. It allows for conversations that would be really tough to have out in the open on mainstream social media. And finally, what about those marketplaces? Well, yeah, many of them are illegal, just like the stories say, but others operate totally within the law. You can find sites that use the dark web's privacy to sell things like digital art from an artist who wants to stay anonymous, or specialized tech for improving your own security. It really challenges that simple, one-dimensional view we're always shown.
So as we kind of surface from our trip, it's pretty clear the dark web is way more complex than its reputation lets on. It's time to pull all our findings together.
So what are the big takeaways here? First, at its core, the dark web is a tool built for anonymity. Second, it's home to all kinds of content, and a whole lot of it is perfectly legal and even important. And third, while you can explore it, being cautious is absolutely critical. The bottom line is it's a place far more complicated than the myth. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. As our digital lives become more and more transparent, more tracked, more monitored, is the need for a private, anonymous space, a hidden corner of the internet, going to become more important for all of us? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.